Good morning, everybody. I'm Kcreginaldjr.
It's man JW Justin Waters.
Welcome to Underdawg Sportz. Welcome to the show and happy belated Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm your man Kcreginaldjr.
J-Dub in the building.
And welcome to the show. We're going to get right into it. Going to talk about the NBA. Justin wanted to talk about the NBA looking to make some changes going into next season.
I've seen they talk about this tournament style basketball mid-season, but I kind of got a question. If they're going to go this tournament style, and then at the end of this quote-unquote tournament, it says nothing to do with playoff significance changes or otherwise, like you know how baseball has the All-Star game, which can signify who gets home field advantage during the playoffs. Or this doesn't make any sense to me. It's like you win a trophy, that's it, and then the season continues back on. So I don't get it.
It's a lot not to get about this, Justin. Starting off with we're going from 82 games to 78 to play a weekend tournament, I guess. I don't really understand. They're trying to steal a little of the NCAA's thunder, if you ask me.
I agree.
I don't know why you're reducing the league season to 78 games when you got players complaining about 82 being a long season. Then why not just go to 60 games?
That's true, but also the fact of the matter is it's if it has no significance, why you already get complaints about load management. If this tournament comes and I'm in it for the real run, the real tournament, which is the NBA playoffs, I would sit there and and basically all my stars have a vacation because it's like, okay, we're not going to do anything with this trophy, woohoo, and just have them sit and then go ahead and once the playoffs come, let's get it back going, or once the season starts. But also, that's another break for the NBA. They're already going to have this tournament, so they're going to have a break after that. Then right around that, here comes All-Star Weekend. They don't have a break after that. It's not consistent. I mean, this would be cool if it was, if it was an international round robin. They brought in Spain and the best teams in China and the best teams from
For those
Australia and
last
all that.
seeds, I agree with that. For those last seeds, I would say yes. Just because how many 8 seeds have won an NBA championship?
Correct. None.
So, I mean, for those last seeds, I think you should have a tournament to see who plays for the NBA championship. I guess you can take 8 through 10 and then throw in an international team.
Right. That would make more sense. This just doesn't compute to me by any means. I think it's just the way the NBA is trying to make additional money.
Well, they're
But they're going to
stealing
have
this a
use
little
this.
bit from baseball and the wild card. That's what they're trying to do. The baseball has created in all kind of ways excitement about a game that America had forgotten about when they went to the wild card round and a one game play in. So I get
Right.
what they want to do. I just don't understand why they're doing it because it really isn't broke. I don't expect a 10 team to somehow be better than an 8 team and somehow go from not even in the playoffs to NBA championship or a finals run. I
True.
think in baseball it's a little different because in basketball most times your number 1 team is just so much better than your 8 team that it's not really a series. So I don't know how you bring more excitement by potentially having a number 10 team go against the number 1.
This would be good if it was for the GL League more than the NBA. Now, if you were saying this is for the G League, I get it. That would be probably pretty good for them. Again, I just don't understand it for that. Plus, the NBA is getting on teams for the load management issue. But let's be realistic. If Kawhi Leonard, LeBron, AD, any of the NBA stars play in this tournament, a meaningless tournament, and they get hurt, they tear an ACL or an Achilles or something, then what?
I mean,
Oh,
to me,
it's
they
really
earned
bad.
it because I wouldn't have a problem with that, and I understand what you're saying, but I wouldn't have a problem with it. Why? Because if you put yourself in a position during the regular season to be in this tournament, that's on you.
True, exactly.
Uh, and
I think it's just a way of making money with the NBA.
oh yeah, it's definitely a way of trying to squeeze an extra dime out of the number 9 and 10 teams.
And to a certain extent, I think there's the only smart way of them doing this is the fact of the matter is it now forces people to have the lower tier teams be watched. There's not a lot of people outside of the Sacramento network that want to watch Sacramento
Right.
or watch Cleveland. Now that there's no LeBron or Charlotte because that's a travesty down there with Michael Jordan. So on and so forth.
When they going to start firing owners? Because Mike needs to go and Nolan in New York needs to go.
That's a good question because we talked about that before. I was the first one to tell you, now New York is going to be more known for how many people can drop 50 on the Knicks versus the competitiveness of the Knicks going back to our years, watching it in the 90s with Ewing and Oakley and Anthony Mason. Rest in peace to him. But, yeah, now it's just, it's New York. Yeah, they're going to drop 60 on them. I mean, it's bad when Brooklyn, who's supposed to be little brother, is way better than big brother.
I agree, but let me tell you something. As a Midwestern kid, a true Midwestern kid, watching the Knicks suck, one of these big markets that get all the attention all the time, get all the media hype whenever they make a whimper. This whole podcast to me started because I'm tired of East Coast and coastal bias media that makes people like Phillip Rivers and the superstars, even though he sucks.
Here we go again.
Listen, I'm just saying, New York has been Big Brother, and they've had this light on them because they're just a huge freaking city, a huge freaking state. So everything New York has got to be huge, and this basketball team has sucked so long that the little kid in me is so happy.
But on the same note, I like to see look, New York also has made the biggest rivalries in basketball, whether it was them and
because they're in New York.
True, but I like that competitive. Don't get me wrong, I would love to see Cleveland come in and whoop New York's ass. But when they were good, it seemed like it was better TV because that it was a style of basketball. I'm gonna say it like that when it came to New York. New York basketball, just like if you ever go to the Rucker or go to the Cage or any of them places as far as street ball is concerned, is gritty, fighting, hardcore. That's how the Knicks were.
Blah, 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 blah.
Now these stats is it's just really bad. When Porzingis is your best player and he was complaining about everything, it was like, yeah, it's time to go, guys. This is bad on all ends.
I'm just saying blah, blah, because to me, basketball was better when Oklahoma City was in the playoffs because that crowd, that atmosphere, small market fan bases turn an arena into a whole different thing. Like being at Arrowhead Stadium. It's like being in college because you don't really have much else to do in those local small places. So you are passionate in the arena or the stadium. You can feel it. So I'm not missing New York. I think it's funny. I think Phillip Rivers is funny. I think these big market teams sucking, to me, is awesome because the dummies that live there are still going to buy the product. And
well, yeah, that's the truth. New York fans need to boycott the team.
So
let's just be real.
What are we losing? A dynasty being built because we can spend more money than everyone because we gonna make more money than everyone. I love it. I'm sorry, I love the Knicks sucking. The only time I actually kind of sort of rooted for the Knicks is when Phil Jackson went there, but he couldn't even save that travesty of an organization.
That's when I stopped rooting for the Knicks, is when Phil got there. Sorry. Phil Jackson's always benefited from the best players and the best teams.
So
Sorry,
what?
Bro.
So what?
As a GM, it was not going to happen.
Oh, yeah. But still, I wanted to prove he could coach a little. He didn't. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
He hired Derek Fisher. Yeah, okay.
So that's our, I guess, NBA rant that's not local for the week.
it's been quiet on the NBA front. Not a lot of stuff going on except for shout out to San Antonio. They beat the Clippers last night, and it wasn't even close. It was actually San Antonio proved that they should be a lot better than what they are by beating the Clippers. They beat the Clippers with Kawhi and PG playing. So small market team beating a big market. There you go.
I'll just tell you this about the Spurs. They're always the best coached team in the NBA, no matter how good or bad they are.
I agree. It's just they can't get the players. Like, let's be realistic. Next, DeMar DeRozan's a free agent this upcoming season. He's probably gone. Let's just be real.
I mean, but is he one of those guys, though, anyway?
No.
I mean, he's not one of those guys you build around.
No, not necessarily. He's a good, solid.
Yeah, he's a
complimentary player.
Yeah, that's what he's turned. That's what he is. He's a nice compliment to somebody that's really good. Anyway, let's move back to let's bring it a little locally back to the Rockets. Rockets struggled last week after they started the season 8-0 against the West. They went on to lose 3 or 4 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they dealt with the Paul George return. I think that was a really good game. If the Rockets role players actually, played well, they win these games. And I think we talked about this after that Clippers game. Because they traded their bench to the Clippers, the Rockets are really going to be left on the outside looking in when it comes down to it.
Well, they don't have any money to get anybody else to intrigue them either. That's
and they traded away the best bench in basketball.
Because right now they have – who is their best player on the bench now? That Gordon's hurt.
What's his name?
Daniel House, maybe.
Daniel House is a starter. I think.
Oh yeah, that is. Well, that's because of Gordon.
No. They like House in the starting lineup.
Well, the local kid.
Yeah, they just like him. He hits his shots.
And Gerald Green's out, of course, for the season.
How do you get out for a whole season with a broken foot in August? That's got to be one hell of a break.
I don't know, but Gerald Green is not necessarily one of those guys you see committed to really working out. You will see Gerald Green at Prospect Park hanging out more than you see him working out. I'm just being real.
I don't know. I mean, but it's a break. A lot. Like if you and I broke something right now, it's going into December. The latest we'd be back would be March. So what kind of break did he have that in August it won't be ready by Valentine's Day, let's say?
That's a good question. I don't know. Or maybe this was a strategy move to probably bring in somebody else but keep the local guy because, he is a fan favorite to keep it real. Ever since
but
what he did for Harvey. Yeah, I didn't get that pick up.
McLemore sucks.
Well, McLemore was overrated when he came out of the pros.
He sucks. The Rockets.
He was overrated when he came out of Kansas.
Yeah, but still, he sucks. And the Rockets need somebody that doesn't suck. And the Gerald Green, while he doesn't play defense for nothing, he can make some threes. So
true.
I don't know why they would have went to either Nah, it's not. I think he's got like an Alex Smith break or something because that's a long time for a broken limb.
Yeah, to be out a whole season, and they're like not even playoff. They're like he's done. He may not be back ready for next year. I was like, okay,
what kind of break is that?
That's big.
So but I think we're both stuck on this. The Rockets bench is going to be what holds them back.
They won't move them forward, especially with the. I'm just gonna say they won't move them forward by any means. The Rockets bench needs some extra help. I don't know who, what, when, or where, but they're
averaging like 2 points a game.
Well, yeah, that's true too. So the question is do they? Daryl Morey is supposed to be the trade guru. Do they pull a trade? Do they
Can we talk about that for a minute?
Okay, go
What
for
has
it.
he won?
He hasn't won anything.
So how is he a guru at anything?
That's what they call him.
Why?
I didn't say. That's a good because he has pulled off. I guess because he's pulled off some trades that the average GM could not do.
Like
but
what?
Look at the Rush trade, for example. That's a prime example.
Well,
the Chris Paul one, I really think that was addition by subtraction because I don't think the Clippers were blowing up that squad anyway. That wasn't like that was going to be a hard
He lost
thing.
that trade.
Oh yeah, he definitely did
He
on
got
that one.
murdered in that trade. This is why I don't understand why we're singing his praises right now. They had a bad evaluation between Lou Williams and Eric Gordon. It was just bad.
I'm not even going there with that. I mean, you traded 4 players and picks for Chris
For
Paul.
an aging, often injured Chris Paul.
So that was my thing. The Clippers were trying to get rid of him anyway. They knew they were getting rid of. They knew DeAndre's contract was up. They were getting rid of Chris Paul. Paul Pierce had just retired, and they were pretty much getting rid of Blake Griffin. So they knew they were going to blow up the team. And you got Chris Paul out of it, but you traded 4 players and picks, which that was the amazing part to me.
And this is the part where I think why Rockets fans are a little bewildered, because he kept promising them a star, and he got so desperate in promising them this star that he said, well, Chris Paul, I can get him, because they were giving him away, but then they were overvaluing him because, dude, like, you don't get healthier as you age. And he had been injured the previous 3 years.
Well, unless you're LeBron. That's another subject. But
and LeBron was like 50 pounds lighter when he came in the league too. But that is another.
But
subject.
he's not consistent. But Chris Paul wasn't being consistent with health. Plus, you have to fit him. You have to put Chris Paul with a team that he can mesh with. Where basically he runs the show.
Yeah, and he's not that guy, and he won't.
Right.
He refuses to take that role.
That's the role. Right. He's not going to be the alpha dog. Now, as far as the Rockets are concerned right now, they're still playing. I've even seen the ESPN stat. Still having Harden and Westbrook on the floor together. They have a minus point spread with that. It's almost like they're better when one's on, like, 5 minutes with Harden, like 5 minutes with them together, 5 minutes with Harden by himself, 5 minutes with Russ by himself, and vice versa. And I don't know if, like I keep saying, when they traded this trade, I was like, I don't think this is going to work, because you got 2 ball dominant guys who are trying to prove something. You know what I mean? That's the big factor. They're trying to prove that they both aren't, in a sense, they're not both lackluster when it comes to playoffs. Neither of them have proven anything outside of the year they played together when they were in Golden State. Neither one of them have gotten past even to the conference finals since that point.
Well,
and Russ Dixie hasn't now that KD's out. Well, since KD is left, he's never got past the first round.
Well, I'm going to say this. It's just past Thanksgiving. Let's give this some time to work. Again, I still have a lot of faith in this, because James Harden is a jump shooter who's being relegated to having to drive the ball, because they won't call the foul on his jump shot anymore.
Yeah, he's not getting the Harden rules no more. Harden still think he was Jordan, getting the Jordan rules. They're not doing that no more.
But he's getting fouled.
Well,
I mean,
I
it
mean,
isn't a Harden rule or Jordan rule. It's if I'm getting hacked, call the damn foul.
They're not doing that no more. I've watched a couple of games where it's like, ooh, wow.
He's getting hammered. And, I don't like that half his game is from the free throw line either. But if he's getting fouled, you got to blow the whistle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just.
I think because he did so much flopping, and it's sometimes hard to evaluate.
The league does so much flopping.
Well, I agree.
It's just because his beard makes it look more dramatic. That's all.
Well, you said his beard.
It does. It takes, because the way the beard manipulates when he throws his head back, it captures your eye, so it makes it look like he's flopping more than any other player in that league. He's not, and he's actually getting hit.
He is getting hit, but it's almost to the same point where I think he bitched and complained so much. Because look at when they were doing this with LeBron. After a while, LeBron was getting calls either, because he was running to the refs immediately to get the foul. So I think the refs came together like, we're not going to give him this.
But even while they're doing that, he still leads the league in free throws made and attempted by more than 50 already.
But let's think about it. Just be real with this. If he didn't lead the league in free throws, dude, his scoring would be way down, because he's still shooting like
I've been saying that for years. Half of his scoring is free throws.
Right.
I've been saying that for years. And the league, and that's why we're having this conversation, the league doesn't like that.
Right.
That half his scoring is from the free throw line, because the free throw line slows the game down. And
exactly.
It gives you a chance to catch your breath when they're really looking for 48 minutes of hold your breath. Here comes the runs.
Yeah, they won a 150-point game, of course. That's just how it works now. But I just don't see, like I said before, he's going to keep going. He's not getting his calls anymore. He's getting battered and bruised.
And the league went to this double teaming early.
Right.
Yeah, it's not even, like I said, we just hit Thanksgiving, and he's been double teamed for the last 2 weeks. So,
but the thing is if he had regular shooters, regular consistent shooters, this double team thing would be irrelevant because all he has to do, he would probably average 18 assists a game between him and Russ because all you got to do is just kick it to your shooter. But you don't have any real consistent shooters. Now that Eric Gordon's out, who is actually a better jump shooter.
Bro, it's a blessing in disguise he's out. He was awful.
You just don't like him, but
I have an Eric Gordon jersey. I do like him. He has been awful.
But if you get him, here's the thing. If you want him to create a shot, if you want him to be...
He's got to be making more than 25% of them to create anything.
But he's not a playmaker. What he is a jump shooter.
And he's been missing his jumpers. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he comes back, if he comes back healthy, he should be good.
He's not going to be healthy, Justin. He hurt his knee. And
that means come back to do something.
That means he won't have his legs the rest of this season. And he was already missing shots.
That I agree with. He has been missing shots, but if he can come back at least something, because the Rockets are going to need him for the long run. If they can't trade him, which they're not, because no one's going to give him.
Nobody wants it. No, they screwed the pooch on him, and
I
said,
they knew something. I think teams knew that he was hurt, and that's why the trade never went through. Because a healthy Eric Gordon, somebody would have been intrigued by that.
But he's always been hurt. That's his thing. That's why it didn't work in New Orleans with him. He's always been hurt. So, again, to me, the Rockets made the wrong bet when they shipped Lou Williams to Los Angeles and kept Eric Gordon. I'm sorry. Durability is everything.
Yeah, well, especially in this league with 82-game league.
Yeah, and if you're basically the same player and one of you have an injury history and the other doesn't, you don't lose a trade that bad. If they had that one piece, they would be elite.
Well, that's what they're working on now. So we'll see how this season goes. Like I told you before, the Rockets are possibly maybe the fourth best team.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, because Russ is inconsistent in that he wants to settle for the jump shot too much, and he's good with the little inside the 3-point line shot. But he's so much more effective to this team when he's penetrating.
But I will say this. When the season first started off, the first 2 or 3 weeks, he was going to the hole. Remember, his shooting percentage was like at his highest for his career. Then all of a sudden, he starts shooting jumpers.
Yeah.
Right. All of a sudden, now he's 10 of 22 games and 9 of 19. It's like, wait, something ain't right.
Yeah.
It's like Russ. It's like Russ was like, okay, I want to shoot threes. I think
it's like he went to load management.
Yeah, realistically, but I think honestly, D'Antoni was like, "Oh yeah, Russ, you need to shoot more volume shooting." Like, no, don't. He's not a shooter. You don't volume shoot a guy that can't shoot. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that.
So, in recap, Harden in the double teams is going to continue to happen until somebody is making 3-pointers. Russ needs to go back to penetrating and taking defenders with him to make these shots. And that might be it, too, that the guys that they're passing to just aren't making the damn shots. So now they're shooting jumpers instead of creating for their team because they don't have Eric Gordon, who they thought they could rely on. And Cephalosha's trash. McLemore's garbage.
Cephalosha was never good. He was just a good defensive player
Has he been that?
Thunder. Well, when he was his Thunder days, but he's never been a scorer. I don't know why people think about that.
I don't get it.
They should have kept Shumpert, but they wanted to lowball Shumpert. But I would have rather had Iman Shumpert than have Cephalosha. I'm sorry.
I mean,
this is being real.
I guess I don't know. I mean, they're the same.
Shumpert wants to go to the hole, and Shumpert can score. I ain't never seen Cephalosha with a game more than maybe 20 points. Maybe. Yeah, I mean.
Anyway, enough of the Rockets. We know what they need. Will they be able to get it? I don't think so. I think this is going to be another year with them watching somebody else from the West win a title.
Yeah. And side note, all of a sudden the Blazers are coming.
Well,
Look at Melo.
Melo.
All I'm saying,
Melo.
all I'm saying, the Blazers is coming now.
Melo turning back the clock on these
again.
fools.
Boy, I said, oh, the Rockets are just he's pissed off still probably because of the Rockets deal in general. But I'm just saying,
the brother is
really,
the brother. Listen,
wait for that.
Let's. It's still only been a couple weeks. Let's
right.
wait till the season starts to weigh on them older knees, and then we talk about it. But right now, all we do is get jovial when we say Melo. Anyway, moving on to the NFL. Are the Ravens the best team in the league?
Yes, hands down.
Whoa, that was. And this is coming from somebody in their division.
Yeah, I gotta say it. Yes, hands down.
They are the most disciplined team. They are true to their identity on both sides of the ball, and it is so damn complimentary that they are the best team in the league right now. I agree. I do. Because of how they complement each other on every side of the football. Their offense is designed to make their defense better. Their defense is designed to make their offense better. Their special teams is designed to make both those teams better. They understand who they are better than any other team in the National Football League, and they know how to execute it, at least right now, better than anyone else in the league. So right now, today, yeah, they are the best team in the league.
Can I say this one thing? The Ravens are the only team that I've seen in maybe the last 2 or 3 years that are actually, outside of New England, that actually are capitalizing on using multiple tight ends. No other team has done that in a while. Even New England, realistically speaking, they haven't done multiple tight ends since Hernandez and Gronk were both there. But Lamar Jackson is throwing. He has only one real threat receiver. Willie Snead's there, but really their threat receiver is Brown, who's a rookie and who's in and out of the games. But he has 3 real capable tight ends that at any given point, any of these dudes can go for 100 yards.
Well, let me say this. That goes back to what I said to start off this Ravens thing being complimentary. Because of the way they play football, that set for them is effective. Because in that set with multiple tight ends, you can play smash mouth football, which they do. You can then play action off of that smash mouth football and throw in the seams, which is Lamar Jackson's strength. Like I said, they are a very disciplined team, and it's really weird. Like, to me, it's easy to see, but the speed of Lamar Jackson getting outside changes everything about this conversation. Because, yes, theoretically, you can defend the middle of the field and shut down everything else except for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and the thing is this. I think the one thing is he's not doing more than what he knows he can do. One of the things, like we were talking about before, a lot of times with the more athletic quarterbacks, they think they could be Tom Brady and themselves at the same time. Lamar knows, okay, I don't really have a deep ball unless my speed receiver is wide open, so I'm not going to try to force it. I'd rather run than force it. And after looking at the Rams game the other day, he does know how to throw away the ball. Like, hey, I can't run it. It ain't open. Toss it away. A lot of times with our more athletic quarterbacks is we're still going to try to make a play. We're going to try to do the old Brett Favre gunslinger thing, and it ends up being costly. Either they get sacked, which could hurt them, or interception, or something stupid. But I think he's a lot more disciplined than people get credit for, even coming out of college.
Yeah. I don't – it's just the defense that you have to play to beat this team is inside out. And teams are afraid to play that way because nobody wants to get beat on the outside. Well,
True.
You're getting demolished inside. And somebody's got to punch these linemen in the face. And to me, this is what – I think the only way to beat him is to zero blitz him all day long. That's the only way to beat him. Give him no running lanes, zero blitzing all day long, and make him beat you on the outside. That's what I think. I mean, from snap one to the last snap with him with the ball, I'm zero blitzing because.
But here's the problem when you do the zero blitzing is the fact of the matter is, again, now you got those 3 tight ends.
What else has worked?
Nothing. That's the whole issue.
So why not?
I don't know about putting 8 in the box like that to keep on trying to zero blitzing.
Brother,
There's a hole.
With him, I'm putting 9 in the box.
Go for it. And all you need is dink it down, Tyson. You know what he's doing? He could play old Patriots football, which, okay, you're going to keep blitzing me. I'm just going to hit 3 yards, 5 yards, 10 yards. And after a while, it takes your quarterback off the field. That's the other thing we're talking about. Nothing has worked.
No traditional defense has worked so far.
They got to run it.
Meaning these
they could try Tampa too.
The seams are exposed in the Tampa too. That's why he's winning. The seams is why he's winning, and the only thing that I can think to do is give him zero running lanes and make him beat you with his arm. That's what I think. That's the only chance you have, because if you allow him to be that dual threat, your defense has no shot. I just truly believe that.
Being capable of throwing the ball now, so that's
he can be capable. But if I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna make him beat me with what I believe is his weakness, which is throwing the ball. So I'm taking away every single running lane, and you're just gonna have to beat my secondary 1-on-1. I'm okay with that.
That's a lot to say.
It is a lot to say, but nothing else is working. He is demolishing contenders. He demolished the Patriots. He humiliated the Rams. He destroyed the Texans. These are teams that I call top 4 teams. He humiliated these guys. So nothing these traditional defenses have done has worked. So why not put some pressure on this guy? I'm sorry. Nothing else has worked.
Well, that's why they play the game to be the best team. I gotta give them credit where credit's due. Me personally,
listen. John Harbaugh is the best coach in the league right now.
I give you that. But here's the other thing. The only way I can think you could beat Lamar, you're talking about having like full-out blitz. I say go zone. I say play a hard zone, and basically.
Brother, they've done that to Patrick Mahomes, so you don't think they've been doing that to him? He's been.
But here's the thing
with
Patrick Mahomes. There's one factor you keep forgetting with your KC team. You have 4 receivers that have run 4.3 or less that can break those zones. They have one. They have one capable receiver that can break a zone, and that's Brown. Willie Snead, if he can stay healthy. The tight ends, although they are great tight ends, not good, but they're actually great pass catchers and blockers. They maybe give you 3 or 4 yards doing that, but they're not exactly what I call Gronk or old school prime time Jimmy Graham when he was in his prime in New Orleans. They're not breaking they're not breaking the plan like that. So I would actually say if you run a zone and just force Lamar to actually have to pick a spot where it's capable to be open. But because here's the thing, I'm gonna say it like this. Baltimore's defense plays zone. This is why Marcus Peters is going off all of a sudden. Marcus Peters is going completely apeshit because
he's in a perfect defense for him. Hey, real quick, I want to ask a question. Don't they play the 49ers tomorrow?
They play the 49ers.
This is the test. This is going to be the test on my theory on how to play defense, because that's how the 49ers play defense. So
this is showing how this is the line versus line on that one.
Nah, and the 49ers blitz.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. They blitz more than any team in the league. So again, this is going to be the test. If the 49ers do what I think they're going to do, and they just basically from down 1 to down 41 blitz this guy, we'll find out if it works tomorrow, because that's how they play defense. They come after you.
That's probably the only way to smash mouth with him. But here's the thing. If Lamar's not really throwing well, the Niners are not really, really great against the run. That means Mark Ingram can go off. That inside is still very, very open. They got great pass rushers with Armstead and, of course, Bosa's being a beast. And even D4, coming down on the blitz, but they give up holes
This is
on
the
that
second
run.
best defense in football. If anybody's got a chance, their style does. I cannot wait. We've been talking about games of the year for the last, I think, 5 weeks now.
Yeah, something like that.
This should be the game of the year because this is the hottest quarterback against what I think is the best team in football. I think San Francisco's defensive staff and the reign that Kyle Shanahan gives their defensive coordinator to run his defense is so awesome. And they got the players to do it. So if anybody's got a chance, I'm telling you now, my formula will be tested tomorrow. Will blitzing work? We will find out tomorrow because San Francisco is coming.
Now, here's the only other factor with San Francisco. You say best team. I say they have the best defense. I don't think they have the best team. Jimmy Garoppolo still has not proven to me that he is.
What's he got to do? What's he got to do?
Okay, I'm gonna say this. I have Jimmy Garoppolo by default on fantasy football. Some days he gives me 12 points. Some days he gives me 30 points.
And his team wins every week, right?
But your team can win.
Nah, brother. This is why we call Tom Brady the GOAT. Because his team wins no matter what he really does.
Tom Brady is the GOAT because he's clutch. He's been in mad clutch situations.
Great, wonderful. Tom Brady is the GOAT because he allows his team and his players to do what they do. And Jimmy Garoppolo is doing the same thing. He's lost one freaking game. If you want to criticize him because your fantasy football team isn't doing as good as you want it to, that's on you.
Good, but he's not winning. Put it like this: the last couple of weeks, Jimmy Garoppolo's stats has been the same things almost Baker Mayfield, which is not saying a lot.
It doesn't have to.
They're winning because of the D. That's it. Let's keep it 100.
He's better than Trent Dilfer.
Anybody, come on,
No, because we're about to go around the league and talk about quarterbacks that aren't.
Trent Dilfer, though,
Jimmy Garoppolo, listen, Jimmy Garoppolo has not cost the 49ers a game this year.
He doesn't need to. All you got to do is win. Look, it's the same reason why Mason Rudolph is benched right now for the Steelers. Our defense is helping you out. Just don't kill the defense. Just don't put us in position to win.
Mind you, his best receiver's been out half the year.
Who, Jimmy G?
No. Yes, Jimmy G.
Who's the best receiver? I thought Sanders was his best receiver.
No, George Kittle is his best receiver.
Well, it's the best tight end. Yes.
No, he's his best receiver. It's his best receiver. He's a Patriot. His best receiver is always going to be his tight end.
That's correct.
He's a Patriot. So his best receiver's been hurt all year and played last week with broken something in his foot. And what happened when he came back? Even when he's not 100%, Jimmy G turns into Tom Brady. The old Tom Brady, not the old Tom Brady.
I don't know about that, but okay. I'll give you. He had a good game. I'm not calling him old Tom Brady. I ain't saying all that shit.
Okay. Well, his team is 8-1, 9-1, 10-1. Who knows? What week are we in? They've lost one game. So we will see. They will be tested tomorrow. He will have to play tomorrow in order for them to beat Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. So
I'm saying this. If they win this game tomorrow, meaning the Ravens, this hands down, there is no more argument.
We already know that. But if but I think in the same token, if the San Francisco 49ers win tomorrow, there is no more argument.
Now, here's the question. If the Ravens lose tomorrow, is Lamar Jackson still – are we now putting Lamar back?
How bad does he look?
That's the question.
That's the question.
That's going to be the question.
Yeah.
But that's it. Because a lot of people are just going to write him off. Well, if he loses, then it's automatically back to Russ for MVP.
No.
And I'm like, nah, it really depends.
I mean, first off, he had one better game than Russ, actually two in a row, which made him elevate past Russ. It's a week-to-week thing.
Yeah, it is. And the fact of the matter is, this is where and you just mentioned that earlier today, it is the West Coast, East Coast bias because the fact of the matter is, for whatever reason, Lamar's getting more primetime games. Russ gets his few primetime games, but it's really been.
We've talked. Listen, again, that's why the podcast exists, because on the coast, you will always be a media darling. Period.
So that's why that's kind of going to be that same way. But either way, this is going to be great football for tomorrow. So we're going to see who's going to pan out on this one. I'm actually still rooting for, sad to say, but I'm rooting for the Ravens.
How could you root for the Ravens?
Hey.
Your team is still in the hunt. What are you faithful to your team?
Bro. I'm always faithful.
No, you're not. You just told me you're rooting for the Ravens and the Steelers are in the hunt.
I hate San Fran more.
Brother,
and
hold on. There is not a circumstance in West Hell that you would ever find me rooting for a out of my conference team against the Raiders.
So, okay, that's you. I'm just saying I'm wanting to say good football, and I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm going with these. Let's keep one real. I got a bet going on. So
so it's about your dollars.
About the dollars,
and this is why I don't bet.
My kinfolk right now, even though he's from Pittsburgh, he's a diehard Niners fan. Shout out to franchise, my little cousin TD, block on Broadway, out. But anyway, he's a Niners fan. I already told him they're going to lose tomorrow. Because they almost lost to Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago in week 3. But I was like, hey, and that was a struggling, and that's Connor having 2 fumbles. I was like, this Lamar kid going to do something. So let's keep it real, America. It's because of the dollars.
Yeah.
Not because of the fanhood. I got to go with the dollars.
I just couldn't possibly imagine a Steelers fan with his team still in the hunt, rooting for the Ravens. All right. We're supposed to have this debate about the type of football that is dominant in the league right now, but I think we kind of covered that with the Lamar Jackson thing. We are way behind.
We're being a trend now, so yeah, we can pass that one up.
We're way behind, and the Texans are going to New England. Bill O'Brien is 0-5 against Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Is that a home game for the Texans?
No, it's a home game.
Okay,
They're here.
I'm sorry. So the Patriots come marching in.
I'm sorry. Bill O'Brien has never beat his team. He's 0-4 against his former team.
I don't even think you got to go there. I think the Patriots are going to look at the tape from what Baltimore did to them, the things that they are capable of doing, because we know Tom Brady has not ever been Lamar Jackson, even when he was 5.
Well, we seen his combine tape, so enough said. I think my grandmother ran faster than him in the combine. It is what it is. Truth be told, I'm sorry. I love Deshaun, and I'm starting to really like to, get to be on the Texans. I ain't gonna say bandwagon, but I like watching Texans football. I'm not gonna front. I don't see a chance in hell that these guys can pull it. Not with New England's defense. Because here's a factor.
Hold on. Because we're about to really strongly disagree, and I will admit.
So let me tell you why. Real quick. Couple factors. One, that defense is playing phenomenal. You got the best. This is the thing I'm gonna watch with this game. You got the best corner versus one of the best receivers.
Who they played last week?
The Colts.
Okay. Who did they struggle with prior to that?
Well, they had the Ravens, so that is true.
Right, and who is the closest thing to Lamar Jackson outside of Baltimore?
Deshaun. But here's your issue. That don't mean jack because you let now New England have 3 weeks to prepare for a little bit lesser speed, but more accurate passer sometimes.
More superior passer most times.
Again, there's one thing you do never, ever, ever, ever in your life knock is Bill Belichick for having a game plan. He's already watched what he did.
Against taking away your top guy. Will
Right.
Fuller should be healthy. Will
Thank
Fuller
That's what I'm saying.
is the X factor for the Texans.
He has to.
When
They're
he
gonna be-
plays, the Texans are almost unstoppable on the offensive side of the football.
But Will Fuller's not the only X factor. Fails has to be the X factor. They have to use their tight end.
They do.
They have to.
But because you have Fuller, because you already know that you don't have Hopkins tomorrow. You know that.
Right, because Gilmore has been going against every top wide receiver in the league.
Exactly. So if you got half a brain as a coach, you know you don't have DeAndre Hopkins tomorrow. So what is your game plan? You know what my game plan is? I make the Patriots readjust. On the very first time I have the ball, the very first drop back I do, I'm throwing the ball to Will Fuller deep. And I expect Will Fuller to make a play. Because on the other side of the defense, they can't cover Will Fuller. But this is if your coach has half a brain. Because if you come out trying to run the ball and try to beat the Patriots by out-physicaling them with the team that is not physical, then you're going to get demolished. But if you come out tomorrow on the very first time you have the ball and throw the ball 50 yards in the air to Will Fuller, and he catches it, you got the Patriots on their heels for the rest of the game.
Maybe. But here's the other factors, too, is they have the Cordy brothers. They cheat. They know that if Gilmore, because they've had pretty great games this season. If they know Gilmore got Hopkins, they're going to cheat to get Fuller. So technically, Fuller may be the double team factor if Gilmore does not struggle against D-Hop. That still remains to be seen.
You know what I said all that to say, though? If the Texans lose tomorrow, I'm back on the fire Bill O'Brien bandwagon because the Texans are the better team. Because if you double team Fuller with your guys, you still have Kenny Stills.
Is he playing tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
because you know he's injury plagued too.
The Texans are the better team. And if they lose tomorrow, I'm back on that bandwagon that O'Brien might need to go because unless Belichick retires, he ain't ever going to get past New England. And you have to start planning to get past your adversaries if you have a young quarterback. Because you're hoping Bill O'Brien retires. Because even if Brady retires, Belichick is the brains behind this operation. He won 11 games with freaking Matt Castle.
You hate Matt Castle too.
But he couldn't even start for USC. He started and won 11 games for the New England Patriots in the National Football League.
The factor of it is I don't see Bill O'Brien necessarily beating his. He's 0-4. There's two, and they're friends, actually.
And if they lose this game, I want the bandwagon to begin again because he has the better team. Just like I felt like Dallas had the better team last week, and Dallas
against Buffalo,
against the Patriots.
No, they wasn't going.
Listen, they should have.
The reason why I'm telling you that they was not.
They're the better team.
The Patriots did exactly what they game planned. You're
understand.
going to get a dome You're going to get a dome quarterback playing in horrible weather. Let's shut down the run and make this guy throw in the rain, and they did not accomplish that. Dallas could not throw in the rain, in the cold against New England. That's what all you had to do is shut down Zeke, and they did that to a T. I watched half that game and said, Zeke ain't scoring. If Zeke ain't running the ball and going off for 20 yards this game, they're going to win this. And they did, and they played. The only factor was, and they made it close, is New England is struggling on offense now, which that should be a factor for the Texans. If they could blitz Brady, because the run game now in New England's irrelevant. I'm sorry, Sony Michel has disappeared. If they could slow down, if they can actually play that style of defense, because I'll commend the Cowboys. They actually played solid defense for the most part against
the Cowboys are better than the Patriots.
And this is
why their owner was so frustrated and basically fired their head coach right after that game.
That still remains to be seen.
No, he fired him. His players have no faith in him anymore. Did you see how they played against Buffalo? They had no fire. They had no passion. They didn't rally behind their coach.
Cowboys fans.
Jerry Jones fired Jason Garrett when he lost to the Patriots. That's what happened. It just ain't happened yet. This team won't play for Jason Garrett because if they didn't last night or Thursday, they won't. So he fired him that day. But they are a better team than the Patriots. The reason I say Bill O'Brien should be fired if they lose because they are a better team than the Patriots. The Patriots are not a good football team this year. They are a great defense. And a great defense should not be able to stop a superior offense.
So the Texans, wait, stop. The Texans' offense is not, they're good. They're not superior.
They should be.
They're
Again, they have the number one receiver in the league. They have one of the fastest receivers in the league. They had one of the best number two receivers in the league when he was in Miami. They have a top 10 rushing game and a top 5 quarterback. They absolutely should be. And if they are not, and them not being so means that it's an indictment on that head coach.
Because let's ask a question. How many times have the Texans got blown out of a game?
That once.
Okay.
When they got embarrassed by the Ravens.
How many times have they blown out a team this season?
They don't really do that. They are a lot like the Chiefs in that. Although they should be, they don't really do it.
Y'all are different because the Texans' defense is better than y'all defense. If y'all had a better defense, y'all would be blowing teams out. Let's just be realistic. They have a superior defense. It's just I keep saying this. It's their offensive identity to me is questionable
because they're balanced.
Well, here's the thing: they don't capitalize on using balance.
That's because they have an idiot as a head coach.
Okay, so let's go with there. It's the head coach, but one day will run the ball 20 to 30 times. The next game they'll run it 10, and it's not because the run game is struggling.
It's because they don't take the time to establish it. If they were the team that they should be, and this is why I say, if they don't win tomorrow, I'm back on that bandwagon. Just as high as I wanted him to be when they beat the Chiefs, I'm as low if they don't beat the Patriots because to me, they are a better football team than the Patriots. This is Jerry Jones has a point, and people need to start listening to it. The Patriots aren't that good. The Patriots are well coached, and you have better players on your football team. You should not be that outmatched on a field because the coach is better than you. Your players are superior. And that means if you have a coaching, it's basically like the plus minus in basketball. If your coach,
if they're bad news Bears and you can win, but if you can't, then what?
But they're not the bad news Bears. This team on paper offensively, the Texans should be the second best offense in football. And I beg to say that they should be the first best offense in football because of their running game.
But again, consistency is key.
Yeah, and that's coaching.
I will keep saying that until you can get consistency in a run game or in a passing game. Their identity
again, that's coaching.
Because look at it. Look at the last several games. All of a sudden, remember, week 4 through maybe 7, Darren Fells was going off. He didn't have like a 100-yard game, but he was getting 4 or 5 catches a game, maybe 4 or 5 targets, 5 or 6 targets. Now, again, here we go again. He's not even getting the ball. You got a 6'8" tight end that's actually catching the ball now. And for whatever reason, they're not throwing it to him. It's not he's dropping the ball, so I'm not throwing it to type thing. It's a fact of the matter is, whatever the play call is, he's on the opposite side, and sometimes he's been wide open, i.e. in the Colts game. He's wide open at least 3 times. I was watching it. They're not throwing him the ball.
So,
okay, you got a big tight end target that even if he's not going to get a lot of yards after the catch, if I go ahead and run 10 yards to the first down, catch the ball, that's a first down, period.
So hold on. I want to ask a different question then. Is it the coach or the quarterback?
And
if it's the quarterback,
no, this is the coach.
How?
But I'm going to tell you this. This is the old Russell Wilson Super Bowl thing, where basically I'm going to listen to what the coach is going to tell me to draw up and play and not and maybe not ruffle any feathers.
Okay.
But if I see the play,
Yeah.
if
that's
it's
what I was
not
about to
looking
say.
right, audible. How many times have you seen Deshaun Watson audible?
Not even necessarily that. And this is where I ask you if it's the coach or the quarterback now.
It's the coach.
Because if you go through a play and your first read is covered, normally your next read is your tight end.
True.
So,
but they're not throwing it.
Again, that's not as a quarterback. I'm gonna tell you, I defied my coach who told me to throw to somebody that was gonna be double, triple covered before the snap of the ball. And I threw an interception, and I looked at him and said he had 3 people over him. I was gonna throw an interception either way. So
True.
what? Well, I would have lived with that one because I told you to make that throw. Deshaun Watson's a professional quarterback. If my number 1 is covered, and traditionally my number 2 is in the middle of the field, my tight end, I'm going to throw it to him. So
right.
Are we blaming Bill O'Brien because Deshaun Watson is not making the choice to come off of his number 1 read and throw to his tight end? And if that's the case, is Deshaun Watson the deficiency in keeping the Texans from moving to that next step that they need to take and not Bill O'Brien?
We'll see, because that's the question. Because I don't see one thing I give your quarterback, Mahomes, he'll audible to hell. If he don't see what's going on, he's gonna make a play changes. If he knows
that's coaching because his coach allows him to do that.
Right, that's the thing. I don't know if Deshaun doesn't want to ruffle feathers with O'Brien, and he's just going to go ahead and be the company guy at this point. But sometimes it's like, hey, let me just go ahead and do me. One of the things that I read an article when they played against y'all at KC, and he ran that touchdown, O'Brien did not like the call. The OC called a different play in his head to change the call. And Deshaun actually second-guessed it, but then said, fuck it, let me just do it. And ended up changing it and running, and it ended up being a touchdown. Because O'Brien does not like him running, period. I don't know why.
He wants to protect his investment.
Yeah, you want to protect your investment, but you also got to make points. If the play breaks down, you got to run, regardless. I mean, he doesn't have to be Lamar Jackson, 1,000-yard rushing numbers. But
he should have 500.
I agree. And
he should have 500. Now, Patrick Mahomes shouldn't have 300, but Deshaun should have 500.
I agree. Totally. He's very capable of that, but I don't know if he has that much.
No, I'm just saying I agree with you there. And that's what we're going to have to figure it out, if it's Watson or O'Brien, because I don't like the marriage of him not being given the freedom he needs to be able to improvise. I agree with that 100%. This is an athlete that you are taking away a third of his talent every time you tell him don't run.
Exactly. I mean, look at it. If you have an athletic quarterback, I mean, this is basically, again, going back to Baltimore, I keep saying it, but this is what Harbaugh's done. He knows his strength of his quarterback. So let's not make him a pocket passer. Let's make him what he's good at.
That's why I'm saying, but right now, Harbaugh's the best coach in the league because he knows exactly what his team is. It's like him and Ozzie were working with one brain as Ozzie was going out the door.
Right.
Because he knows what his team is, and he has absolutely put it together and coached it the way they should be coached and put together.
So with that said, with the Texans, they got a very, very, very hard task ahead of them with New England.
Well, there's no excuses because Bill O'Brien shopped for these groceries, and again, to me, they look like a superior team. I have picked against the Patriots for the last 3 weeks. I have, and I'm 0 for 3, but I should be 3-0. I should be 3-0 because the teams they played are better than them.
But it's all coming down to scheming, and it's to somewhat. Can I say this? It's also. It seems like sometimes it's fear against the Patriots.
But that's the coaching.
Like they put a stigma in their head, like, oh, Patriots is coming to town.
To me, that's coaching because for me, just like teams have been playing the Chiefs, because you knew you just had to outscore the Chiefs. Well, the difference is teams don't feel like they have to outscore the Patriots. Well, you do. That's how you win. Put pressure on the Patriots. Like if teams played the Patriots like they had been playing the Chiefs when they were going for it on fourth down and things of that nature, it would be a different ball game. But because the Patriots offense looks so slow, because they look like they're so underwhelming, but they're efficient when they need to be.
That's key.
And that's why that's why I'm 0 for 3, because I think I see talent. And when I see talent, I'm going to pick the talent. But these coaching deficiencies are so wide. Like the gap between Belichick and the next closest guy has been so big, so large, so wide for so long. Like what? Something's
It's almost like college football.
Yes.
It's like Alabama.
Yes. It's Nick Saban. I can leave college, come back to college, and I can still dominate the rest of college.
Side note, they're best friends too.
Whatever. Anyway, the Texans defense going against the 10-1 Patriots. I think we kind of covered this. The Texans defense should win, but they find a way to lose.
So are you going against the Patriots again, or are you going to go for the Texans?
I want to go against the Patriots. I do. But do I believe in Bill O'Brien? Do I believe in Romeo Crennel? The answer is no. So I got to pick the Patriots. Now I got to go back and undo my pick on the Fox Super 6 with Terry Bradshaw. I mean, on paper, the Texans should win. The game isn't played on paper, though.
Game was played in reality on the field. And this is a prime time game. One thing that's scary with New England is they like prime time games. They actually play better during prime time. I hate to say it because it was my team at week 1 of the season.
But no, wait. Your team was a farce from day one.
Yeah, I wouldn't say all that.
They were a farce. Come on, bro.
But I'm saying New England, going back to it, primetime games is what they strive for. And it's really hard for me to go against them on week. I can say this. If the defense struggled with New England, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to ride out with the Texans. The defense is balling. And the Texans, for whatever reason, they have struggled.
So it's right back to where we started with Deshaun Watson and the Texans. Like where I started off when we brought you on, my questions about Deshaun Watson remain intact. In the clutch, in the big game, is he going to choke or is he going to come through? This isn't college anymore. And on this stage, he hasn't really come through. The teams that he's had these comeback victories against aren't really great teams.
The bigger question is I think he has the gusto and
the moxie
intelligence to do it. Yeah, and the intelligence as well to do it. Is he going to be more the company guy and let O'Brien?
How much do you think that the Houston Texans have to do with this? With the company guy thing?
A lot. The company quarterback guy. I mean, I'm be honest with you. You're a young brother.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
It's a company guy.
This
is why the Texans
he's not the first, though. But he's not the first.
This is why a couple years ago, going back 10 years now, the Texans weren't adamant about drafting Vince Young. Vince may not have the same career, but Vince, it's his city, and Vince wouldn't have been the company guy. Vince would be like, I'm gonna do what I did in Texas.
I'm just saying,
I may not be able to read a playbook for shit, but I was balling, and I won games and championships. Let me do me.
But this city has traditionally been progressive there.
Yeah.
So
but you still got.
I don't think so. I really think this is just O'Brien being more. So here's the thing about Belichick coaches, and I'm way over. I was part of the Kansas City Chiefs right during the Carl Peterson, Scott Pioli transition. The Belichick, the Patriots family are very controlling to the point where Pioli fired the entire security staff. Okay? And I mean game day, yeah. Like, this has nothing to do with your playing on the field, but he brought in his own personal security staff. And wow, is just all I could say. That's how controlling they are. So O'Brien thinks that's how he's going to win now. This is not a 6th-round draft pick that you basically giving him everything he ever earned because you made him a 6th-round draft pick when no one else picked him 6 rounds before. And then you had the cojones to pull Drew Bledsoe and play this kid a 6th-round pick. Well, it turns out that Belichick was right, but Bill O'Brien's dealing with a number 11 overall pick in the draft, who's won
and
a college, who's won a college national championship, and that control will hinder Watson. And to a certain extent, Watson is, he doesn't feel he's earned the right to challenge his head coach in public.
I agree.
But I will say this. O'Brien has not earned the right to turn into Big Red in the face because he ain't won squat. And once Watson realizes that he'll be in Houston after Bill O'Brien, I think he'll take a little more control of his offense. But until he does that, they will be hindered.
Again, I keep bringing up Russell Wilson. It's almost same in theory. When Russ became the company guy and did what he wanted to and was listening to what happened during the Super Bowl, he got destroyed by the media, the fans, and everything. And it's just because basically that whole regime is gone but him and Pete Carroll that he is now bouncing back. To say that Russ now is like, screw this, I'm going to do me. And if y'all don't like it, like if Pete says one thing, Russ is like, nah, kill that. We're going to do this.
See,
and I think it's to that point.
Well, the difference is I don't think you're there because Pete Carroll and Russ have always had a mutual respect. Russ won a Super Bowl because of Pete Carroll, not because of Russ. Russ was a pup when he won that Super Bowl. That was coaching, that was defense, that was domination by Pete Carroll's specialty. But they have a mutual respect that is far different than what Bill O'Brien has with Deshaun Watson. I don't think Bill O'Brien had a lot to do with drafting Deshaun Watson. I don't think Deshaun Watson was Bill O'Brien's guy, per se. I think Bill O'Brien has recognized that whether or not he had a lot to do with drafting this kid, this guy is going to be here once I'm not. So I better ride the coattails. The problem is he's not utilizing the talent of Deshaun Watson to its capacity like the Ravens are doing with Lamar Jackson, like the Chiefs do at times with Patrick Mahomes. And they need another coach to do that.
So basically, we'll see this offseason.
Yeah.
With him having so much power and he's buddy with ownership, I'll be the first one to tell you I don't see O'Brien leaving.
I don't see it happening either. But don't you see if Deshaun Watson doesn't take a huge leap forward in the next 20 games of his career that O'Brien is gone?
He should be.
I'm just saying, if
I honestly want to say this is going to be another Jason Garrett.
If that happens, Deshaun Watson should leave at free agency because he will be held back by a coach. He will, in essence, turn into Phillip Rivers, except for Rivers held an organization back, and Watson is being held back by the organization. That's the difference. Anyway, who you got? It seems like you're leaning towards the Patriots.
I'm going with Patriots.
By how much?
I think this is actually going to be a close one, so I said 21-17, Patriots.
If the game is that close, I agree with you. Um, I don't know. The truth is, I just don't want to put faith in Bill O'Brien.
Yeah,
That's
he's
the
not
truth.
good against. He's not good.
It's not even
Bill
that.
is not good versus Bill. Period.
But if he goes out and coaches like he did against the Kansas City Chiefs, the Texans win by 14. If he goes out for the jugular, if he quits playing to the Patriots' mediocrity for the first 3 quarters, if they win by 14. But if it's a close game, it's the Patriots by 3. It's simple. If it's close, the Patriots by 3. If it's
Texans
a blowout,
don't have that killer instinct
Texans
yet,
by 10 or more.
I just don't see the Texans with that killer instinct. They don't have that.
Didn't that really piss you off about some of these teams, like the Chiefs and the Texans? Like, you have all the talent in the world. You got to kill a game. You got to step on that team's throat. Anyway.
Yeah, I should have it, but
I guess that's a good transition.
Yeah,
I guess that's a good transition. We're going to Kansas City. Chiefs are coming off the bye. They are 7-4. They have control of the AFC West thanks to the Raiders laying an egg, like most people expected. Bro, you know how my fantasy football worked last week? Up until 11:57 a.m. on Sunday, I had Derek Carr as my starting quarterback against the lowly Jets. I don't know what it was. I don't know why I did it. But at 11:57 a.m. last Sunday, I cut Derek Carr and signed Jameis Winston.
That's a bold move.
It worked beautifully. I don't know why I knew the Raiders were going to lay a damn egg, but it's kind of tradition. And they did. And it worked. And I'm great because I literally need a win and somebody to lose to make the playoffs, and the Raiders turned into the Raiders.
But no one's seen the Raiders losing like that.
I cut him, bro. I mean, in fantasy football, I cut him at 11:57 a.m. I kind of knew Derek Carr was going to choke. I'm telling you, I watched this division. The only team that scares me in the AFC West year over year is the Denver Broncos. And the only reason they don't is because John Elway is the general manager, and he can't find a quarterback to save. He's like the Michael Jordan of quarterbacks. Michael Jordan with his team, John Elway with his quarterbacks. He don't have a clue. Unless a free agent falls in his laps that is a Hall of Fame free agent, he don't have a clue.
That was given up on too early. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I'm just that's he has no clue. So that's the only team that ever puts fear in my heart, because I know every year the prognosticators are going to say Phillip Rivers and the Chargers are primed to take the division from the Chiefs. And every year the Raiders are an afterthought until this year. Well, Phillip Rivers was primed to take the division from the Chiefs again, and Phillip Rivers choked again. What's new? He's going to blame it on the injury of one safety on the defensive side of the football? Is that what we're going to do? No. Phillip Rivers has done what he's been doing. He sucks. And the team that always scares me in the West is the Broncos, and as long as John Elway is picking the quarterbacks, I'm good there. And then the Raiders, I have to give them this. John Gruden has proved to me that he is a good football coach. He really has. Because I thought he won just like you thought he won with Tony Dungy's players in Tampa Bay. He gave them something. He gave them attitude. He brought something to that team. Because the Raiders, before Gruden, were trash.
I'll give you that. But the attitude thing with Brooks and all them, they had that. They just couldn't get over the hump.
I'm just telling you, it's the moxie. He has a swagger about him that I can lead you where you have not been led before. He's taking this replacement football team led by Derek Carr. Come on. You know all about the Carr family and quarterbacking. I mean, seriously. He's led this team out of obscurity to playing the Chiefs tomorrow for first place in the AFC West.
It's going to be an interesting game with that one.
It is.
We'll see. When it comes down to it with y'all, it's going to be interesting tomorrow's game, just because the fact of the matter is the Raiders are going to play y'all like they play, like it's their Super Bowl. Y'all got to play it like, we're not trying to go ahead and lose this game by any means necessary.
What scares me is Damian Williams is hurt. That's what scares me because LaShawn McCoy is the primary running back. That scares me. He's got more turnovers than the quarterback position by himself. A running back. Can you imagine back in the day a running back having more turnovers than a quarterback?
Well, back in the day, yeah, because they ran the ball more. But now, no.
No, because you still expected quarterbacks to throw 10, 12 interceptions a year. This dude, if he was the primary running back for the Chiefs, he would have 8 fumbles already lost. I don't understand why teams continue to allow him. Like, I get his foot talent, his leg talent, but dude, this is a league of turnovers, and this dude is a turnover machine.
Well, that's the whole thing with Andy Reid having to get back.
He's like Phillip Rivers of running backs.
You mentioned Phillip like 8 times already, but you got to let that go. He's not even winning right now. He has a losing record. You got to let him go.
No, because they're always picked to beat the Chiefs, and he chokes every year, and it's hilarious. And I don't mean like one-on-one. I mean for the division. I like their coach, though.
Yeah, let's hope they keep him. You know, brothers don't last in the league too long.
Yeah, but I think that the Los Angeles market is starting to realize that it's the quarterback and not the coach. Because he's gotten how many coaches fired now?
Damn, yeah, a lot. Because he was there with Marty, right?
Yeah, Marty Schottenheimer. The offensive coordinator for Cam Newton. What's his name?
Oh, Norv Turner.
Norv Turner. He's gotten they've had so many head coaches. Like, when is this organization going to realize it's not the coach? It's the one thing that's been in place when all these coaches went out the door. It's been the quarterback. I'm just saying. Anyway, this game tomorrow is going to be really different. We haven't had a Raider week actually be significant in years in Kansas City. And this is actually significant. The Raiders actually have a chance to be tied for first place in the AFC West. What do you think?
If the Raiders play how they've been playing when they were playing for their wins and run the ball with Harris, they have a great chance of beating y'all.
I love that. I love that you said it just like that. If the Raiders play, no. I'm going to say it like you, but I'm going to say it in obvious terms. If the Raiders play their brand of football, they've got a shot.
Because they got to run the ball. Because they got to keep Mahomes off the field.
Did you hear what I said, though? They've got a shot. This is exactly how I should be talking about the Texans and Patriots tomorrow. If the Patriots play their brand of football, the Patriots have a shot.
In hell. But
I'm just saying, if they play their brand, they should have a shot. But we're talking about the Raiders because the Raiders should have a shot if they play their brand of football. A shot. That means that's their only chance of winning. If anything goes any other way, the Raiders should lose.
Yeah, they have a great opportunity to go ahead and beat y'all if they can control the clock. That's the only way they're going to beat Kansas City is controlling the clock.
Well, they'll do that.
Yeah.
They not need to just control the clock, because controlling the clock doesn't necessarily always equal winning. You got to control the scoreboard. The thing I'm concerned about, and I think Chiefs fans should be more concerned about, the minor hamstring injury of Tyreek Hill. I don't think this guy should play tomorrow. I don't.
On a playoff point. Y'all got all hands on deck. I'm sorry.
No, I don't think this guy should play tomorrow. I think this team is good enough without Tyreek Hill to beat the Oakland Raiders.
I beg to differ. Y'all need all hands on deck now.
Nah, our offensive line is finally healthy. The only injury we have is Damian Williams, and that's, like I said, that's the thing that scares me, because Darrell Williams should be the primary running back, but he's not the prototypical Andy Reid running back, so he's going to be running the ball after LaShawn McCoy fumbles. Not if, after LaShawn McCoy fumbles.
But wouldn't you want a guy you would want all hands on deck because you want as many people to go ahead to beat the team.
I want Tyreek Hill healthy when it counts. Yes, tomorrow is a regular season game. Even if we lose tomorrow, we are still tied for first place, and all we have to do is beat the rest of our division opponents and win one more game than the Raiders. So I'm more concerned about this team coming into form further along in December. I want to make sure that Tyreek Hill is healthy, and even if he's dropping passes, the threat that he puts out there when he's healthy makes Sammy Watkins more effective, makes Travis Kelce more effective, makes Patrick Mahomes more effective. So, yes, to the Raiders, this is a must-win game. To the Chiefs, we better win because it's the Raiders. But we could stand a loss because the Raiders laid an egg with the Jets.
Nah, this is your squad, so I'll let you go ahead and ride with it. But I just think that now, once we get into the nitty-gritty of the going to the playoff hunt in the regular season, all hands on deck with me. If he's not 100%, if he says he can go, then go. I wouldn't force him.
Not with a hamstring.
But even if he's on the field as almost, I keep it real. Even if he's on the field almost as a decoy, something's better than nothing. But again, if you feel comfortable about your squad, this is what you do.
They're not going to do it. Andy Reid is going to play him. I know he's going to play him because he's practiced all week, and that gives me a little more hope that he's a little more healthy. But listen, we got the Patriots next week. I'd rather him healthy for them than the Raiders. That's what I'm telling you.
We're talking about AFC supremacy.
Well, yeah, and we're talking about supremacy. Knocking them off their perch, letting them know that the hell with Foxborough, we gonna come in here and punch you in the mouth. But that's the same problem that the Raiders faced with the Jets last week. The Raiders were looking towards the Chiefs, and they got punched in the mouth. So the Chiefs can't do that. That's why Tyreek Hill is playing, because Coach is making the Chiefs team realize how important this game is. Andy Reid is phenomenal inside his division, all the way back to his days in Philadelphia. He destroys his division. Outside of the Cowgirls back then, but traditionally Andy Reid owns his divisions. I expect him to have a good game plan to beat the Raiders. The Chiefs have to worry about trick plays. They're going to throw a flea flicker and some things like that because, again, to the Raiders, this is their Super Bowl.
Easier said, but it is true. This is their Super Bowl, so they're going to play it to a higher level. Either a higher level or a harder level. Of course, you want higher, but either that or they're going to go ahead and they're going to go try to tear our heads off.
You mean like Phillip Rivers did?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about old school Raiders football, where they're gonna have more penalties than they have points. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, damn Phillip Rivers right now. He out of there. He ain't even in the playoff contention right now. We're not even worrying about saying.
I'm just saying their quarterback position is eerily similar.
The quarterback?
Yes, it's eerily similar. One's just younger.
One is on the hot seat and one's not. Philip's not on the hot seat right now. One's on the hot seat and one's not.
If Philip been on the hot, what does it take? How many coaches do you got to get fired to get on the hot seat? Derek Carr is on the hot seat. The Chiefs' defense has been playing better. I don't know what to expect of Frank Clark because what he did before the bye was against a rookie backup, and everybody wanted to say that we were too hard on him. Well, we lost a lot of football games because he ain't do shit. Okay. I'm from the show me state. I got to see things to believe it. So I'm still not sold on Frank Clark. I'm glad that we had the bye. The Chiefs have no excuses. Is basically what I'm saying. There's no excuses to lose games anymore. This is as healthy as they have been since the preseason. They need to be rounded into form if they truly believe they're Super Bowl contenders. So that's what I'm saying. The Chiefs need to come out and basically dominate tomorrow.
Yeah. So that means they got to go ahead. We're basically speaking, if they have to go ahead and play Tyreek, that would be my factor. Let's go ahead. Because here's the thing. If you blow them out, then you can take them out in the third and fourth quarter. If it's 35-3, because obviously you can see that they have the Raiders right now are having an aptitude of scoring issues. Why not just blow them out? Then Tyreek can just steal the second half.
I'm just saying, Sammy Watkins, McCole Hardman, Demarcus Robinson, Travis Kelce, even Fumble McCoy, they should be enough to beat the Raiders.
Yeah, we'll see. So that'll be the matchup.
I mean, no, he won't because he's gonna play. Like
right.
he's gonna play, so we're not gonna see it. I just don't want Tyreek out there getting hurt, and it's now a 4-week hamstring injury instead of what would have been a 3-week injury if we'd have just gave him one more week. That's what I'm concerned about. Anyway, the game tomorrow, you expect the Raiders to win is what I'm kind of sniffing.
No.
Oh,
I didn't.
You're just giving them a shot.
Give them a shot. Don't go there and start having me smell the Kool-Aid.
Why not? You said they have a good chance to beat the Chiefs.
If they can control the ball, this game will be a lot more interesting than what a lot of people give them credit.
So, like, who's not giving them credit? This is a division game. Every division game is close.
9-point favorites to beat the Raiders tomorrow.
Well, that's just ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Now, I got us as 10-point winners. I got us as 10-point winners. I do.
Yeah, you're a homer. I'm just talking about Vegas odds. They're 9-point favorites to win. The Chiefs are 9-point favorites to win against the Raiders.
But for this team to finally be healthy, except for Damian Williams, we're literally missing one piece. If we don't dominate the Raiders tomorrow, then there's some serious questions to be asked. So yes, we should be 10-point favorites.
I think y'all win this game. I can't
wait to Patriot Week. I can't wait.
I think y'all will host this game. I don't think y'all going to go ahead and try to run up the score to 35.
But they need to. And that so now you're gonna start my rant early. Andy Reid needs to figure something out really, really quickly.
But here's the question:
great teams cut your throat when you have the chance.
But against this particular team,
no. It's not running up the score. I mean, cut their throat to where you can rest Tyreek Hill, to where you can get some backup, some playing time, and get Sammy Watkins off the field because every rep he takes, we're all afraid because he's going to hurt his toe or his foot or something. Why not get 35 points at halftime?
My biggest thing is I don't see Andy doing that because it's probably looking past the Raiders and going to straight the Patriots.
Well, if he does that, then listen, he's on the bubble too. Especially if they don't win this division.
Well, y'all win the division. Yeah, the division is really y'all win the division.
He can't look past the Raiders tomorrow to say that. Like seriously,
y'all win the division
because we got the Raiders tomorrow. If we lose that game, we could literally lose 2 in a row because we go to Foxborough the next week. Week 16 or week 17, we got the Chargers, who are definitely looking for revenge after the 5 interception game where they're only statistically calling it 4. Tyrann Mathieu. Yeah, these teams are going to be looking for vengeance. So they need to go out. They need to put this away early, but they need to act like they're playing desperate. I want to see this team dominate. They need to show us that they are in that upper tier. They haven't shown that this year.
That I agree with. But, again, because of Andy Reid's style, and I've watched years and years of Andy Reid's football, especially dealing with Philly, that's one of the things he's not good at is putting
it away.
He's almost want to be friendly, like, hey, that's my guy across there. I won't go ahead and try to kill him.
Crazy, right? This is a cutthroat business. You go out and you dominate. You show everybody, just like the Patriots do every chance they get. You show everybody who is the best in the world. And Andy Reid doesn't have that mentality. Anyway, we're moving on to Pittsburgh and the rematch. Pittsburgh and Cleveland. But there is no Mason Rudolph.
This is funny because did you hear the line Tomlin said? And people kind of misconstrued what he said, but I got it. He said a line, and they said, well, what was the point of starting Devin Hodges? He won't kill us. That was a direct – this is why I said that's officially the sound of Mason Rudolph. So if anybody in Pittsburgh –
that's the end of his career.
That's it in Pittsburgh. If you bought a number 2 Mason Rudolph jersey, you might as well just go and throw that up on eBay right now. It ain't gonna.
It's the end of his career.
Because between the interceptions, the hit he took in Baltimore, And the fact of the matter is, since that point, he's had, I think, 7 interceptions since he's been back. He's only been starting 2 games, and he's had 6 interceptions. Excuse me, I'll take one back. He's had 6 interceptions. Yeah, and we're still in the playoff hunt. Let's just go with the 3rd round kid. Is he the Steelers' future? No. I've said that now for the last 3 weeks. No, he's not. We are definitely going to be looking forward to either free agency or the draft, depending on what's out there in free agency. If not, definitely Hodges will be competing at least for his job next year. Just keep it real. If he doesn't shine out.
Listen, Mason Rudolph needs to be on the Steamboat Arabia out of town.
Oh, no, he's gone. I'm talking about not Rudolph. I'm talking about Hodges. Because we're going to have to put some fire under his ass, too, just in case. But
why? Listen. Give him a chance. Just like you gave.
We are going to give him a chance, but don't get it twisted. Don't get too comfortable saying you're the starting quarterback.
Well,
for the future.
He's not the starting quarterback for the future. Y'all still believe in Ben. Well, most of y'all.
Yeah. Thank you.
The ones
I really appreciate
the ones that make the decisions.
Yeah, well, that's the old Phillip Rivers. I mean, look.
Your guy has a Super Bowl. Your guy has accomplished something, okay?
Right.
So you cannot put him on that same plateau. Your guy has accomplished something, and guess what? Your guy has not done. Gotten coaches fired.
But the fact of the matter is we don't want to be Eli either. I mean, Steelers Nation doesn't.
Well, Eli got coaches fired. Your guy hasn't gotten coaches fired. To me, like
he had a coach quit.
Can I ask you something? Do you think a brother would have had the leash that Phillip Rivers has in Los Angeles, San Diego? How many coaches has he been through?
Who, Phillip? I have no idea. Really
exactly. We should do, like, seriously, like any other quarterback.
Good question.
Never mind, because
let's get back to the Steelers because you're gonna go on that one, and that could be next year. We'll say that for next week. But go look up the research. You'll be back at work next week, so you can do this during the meantime. Find how many coaches he got fired. Find that one. We already know Ben's only had 2 coaches his whole career.
And neither one of those guys have gotten fired.
And Eli's only had, realistically speaking, Eli's only had 3 to date. I mean, Coughlin, Spagnuolo, whatever his name is.
Spagnuolo.
No, not Spagnuolo, but McAdoo.
But he had Spagnuolo. He had Coughlin. He's gotten about 4. This is like his 4th or 5th coach. He's went through some coaches too.
But the fact of the matter is going back to
Aaron Rodgers has only gotten 1 coach fired.
Yeah, but that's because that was because that was a you versus me situation.
Yeah, so and that guy shouldn't have been fired. That was just that was an ego trip from both of them.
Right. But
great quarterbacks don't get coaches fired. That's all. That's what makes a Hall of Fame quarterback.
But I do feel with this game, the rematch, 2 things are going to occur. One, it's going to be a lot of contact, so I expect a lot of penalties because both teams are going to play extremely physical because of this fight.
It's rivalry week.
And it's a rivalry.
Yep,
this goes back to a couple years ago when we beat Cincinnati in the playoffs and when Burfict knocked out Antonio Brown, which was probably the start of him going crazy in the first place. But that next game during the regular season, when Cincy played us the next year, that game had more penalties because of shot blocks, cheap trips, roughing the passer, everything. And I don't expect this to be any different.
Well, I do, and this is why I do. Both of these teams are in the playoff hunt. And stupid penalties will cost you. Right now, the Steelers are the last team in the playoffs.
The playoffs right now.
So these teams have to play, and they have to try to win. So trying to cripple your opponent should not be the objective. The objective should be to score 1 more point than your opponents. So if they're playing in their feelings instead of playing to try to get to the playoffs.
You watched the Browns football? Browns culture is like whatever. That's why I don't think Kitchen is going to last for too much longer. His culture is to hurt, is to play physical. Remember, the Browns are the most penalized team in the league when it comes to roughing the passer and pass interference calls and has had 4, which is a league high, 4 helmet-to-helmet hits. 4. That one Ranful, they got ejected against that game. That was their first ejection. But they've had 5. And they had 2 of them, and that's prior to the 2 that they did against the Steelers that night game. They already had 5. They play a lot of stupid-ass football, and I haven't really been watching the Browns all like that.
Their coach is coaching for their job.
Right.
They're trying to get in the playoffs. I'm sorry. If they do anything other than try to win this game, then the coach should be fired right after the game.
Now, they have one factor again. For the second week in a row, we have no Juju and probably no Connor again.
Can we go back to saying that Mike Tomlin's the best coach in the National Football League?
I've been saying that. The only way Tomlin loses Coach of the Year is if he loses to, and I'll be okay with that.
Jim Harbaugh? Harbaugh?
Then Harbaugh and Shanahan. John Harbaugh and Shanahan.
Yeah.
Those 2 I'm okay with because Shanahan completely turned that whole team around.
Honestly, from the way they look, you got to give Belichick some nods too. Just because it's old doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
But he's always there.
I know that's what I'm saying. Just because it's stale doesn't mean he hasn't done an impeccable job with the talent he's got.
I'm kind of.
I know you know how I am. I'm just saying, like, that does not look like a good football team if you watch their football games.
No, they're not. I am not. I'm by all means. I'm a rest on the Belichick thing. Like, all right, we've seen this guy do this numerous times. So his is almost like the same thing with when you get Greg Popovich in basketball. It's like no matter what, unless it's a complete and utter flop, he's always going to be chilling there.
Yeah,
like this is
listen, I'm with you. You know, I've been saying this for a few weeks now. Like the job that this guy has done, like you can only imagine a team like, let's say, the winless Bengals, just salivating at the thought of Mike Tomlin being fired.
Well, we know that ain't gonna happen now. He finally got the thumbs up, not from just general manager, but from the ownership.
If I'm the guy, I quit. If I don't get renewed for a fat ass contract extension, guaranteed money, I quit. Because I have shown you. We said at the beginning of this season when Ben went down that this is going to prove if Mike Tomlin can still coach. Well, I think the jury's in. The guy is a phenomenal coach. He's winning with Mason Rudolph and Devlin Hodges. Okay, no practice squad receivers.
We're winning with we have 2 practice squad receivers. We have now officially a rookie. We have a rookie, a hybrid,
5th string running back.
We're on because now if you add Snell, because this is how bad it got. They actually were looking at bringing in Jonathan Stewart for a run.
I mean, why not?
Jonathan Stewart, I'm like, damn, I forgot he even existed. I didn't even know he was still. I was like, is he still playing?
Brother, at this point, I'm surprised y'all didn't bring in Bam Morris.
Well, ain't Bam Morris in jail?
Probably.
But that's another subject. Y'all had him, and then he became Cocaine Don. But anyway, here's the thing. Tomlin is got to have the safety net of the world because he has proven he's gotten the team motivated. He got that defense motivated when they took the risk on getting Minka. And look at Minka is all of a sudden
turn that boy into a safety, and he's the best defensive player right now.
Right, and he's only a second-year player too. But he's showing out that, well, damn, whatever happened in Miami was just definitely the culture in Miami because this guy is shining.
Well, he was a cornerback in Miami.
Yeah, and he wasn't a cornerback at
a physical corner, a ball hawk like this. I venture to say that he does more for your team at the safety position than he could ever do as a cornerback.
That's totally true.
So,
because he shouldn't be even playing. He shouldn't have even been playing cornerback in the first place at Miami because when he was at Alabama, he was a safety. He was not a corner.
Like, listen, the Steelers won because they had the best safety in the league when Troy Polamalu was the safety there. Um, the
Even
same
going back further than that with Carnell Lake, we've always had great safety.
or Rod Woodson.
Yeah, well, he was corner with us. He converted to safety once we cut him, which was still one of the dumbest moves in franchise history. But that's a whole different subject.
I'm just saying that the league overpays cornerbacks for the one-on-one when the safety is probably the most impactful secondary play. Not probably, he is the most impactful secondary player. When your cornerbacks are getting beat, it's because you don't have a good safety. That's really is what's happening.
But look at it like this. Look at Jalen Ramsey right now. Jalen Ramsey is being exposed over there in L.A. And if you're not playing a certain scheme with the cornerback, i.e. with Marcus Peters did, you got to have a strong safety behind it. The Rams don't. So now all of a sudden this one-on-one.
Marcus Peters looks like a Pro Bowler again, like he did when
and
Eric Berry was healthy in Kansas City.
True. But this one-on-one, quote-unquote, shutdown cornerback is not shutting down too many people. He wasn't shutting down too many people in the last couple of years in Jacksonville. You got to have a guy that can come down and cover.
Well, outside of Stephon Gilmore, who's a shutdown cornerback?
In the league now? Nobody.
Exactly. Because it's the unicorn of football. There is no more era of a shutdown cornerback because you can't. And the only reason Stephon Gilmore gets away with it because he plays for Bill Belichick. You cannot be physical. So you have to have strong safeties. You do. And if you don't, your defense looks bad. On the run, your defense looks bad. On the pass, your defense just looks bad. If you don't have strong safeties.
And the biggest thing is Devin McCourty, like it or not, people don't give him the credit he does for playing back there in the safety role because it allows him. He's not. I'm not saying he's Ed Reed ball hawk style, but he gives a different way of now Gilmore can play one-on-one because the fact of the matter is if Gilmore gets burnt, this guy can cover.
Exactly.
And make
because
sure
you got
that
strong,
the play still blows up.
Exactly. So you can take more chances as a corner. And you can be that shutdown cornerback because you have what? A strong safety that has – and they communicate seamlessly. Like I said, Marcus Peters' best year is when Eric Berry was in the secondary. Now he's got a safety, Earl Thomas, and the truth of the matter is he's balling. And if you have that kind of play, this is why the league is so misconstrued about paying these players. Quarterback, yes, you got to pay the quarterback. But on the defensive side, why in the hell is a cornerback paid more than a safety? Because if you don't have a safety, if you don't have safety that are strong, you don't win. You just don't.
Let's give you a great example in D.C. right now. He was a shutdown guy, quote unquote, in Carolina, but you also had to realize Carolina had strong safety help, and they had a definite line that basically was forcing you the quarterback had to get rid of the ball fast, which now allowed Josh Norman to play his game. DC, we haven't heard Josh Norman's name. Sorry. I mean, he would be a good pickup for y'all in KC.
No. I want a safety. I love Juan Thornhill and Matthew. That's why the defense is starting to play well. Juan Thornhill is just a step or two behind the game. The game is still a little fast for him. I think next season he'll be great. Shavarius Ward looks like a number one corner because he's playing with Tyrann Mathieu on his side of the field. Like the secondary is adequate if you have great safeties. So since we don't want to, we need to save the money anyway. Why not just invest in the safety position because it's going to cost you a hell of a lot less than it is going to pay you cornerbacks, and then you can just keep drafting cornerbacks.
Or if they're smart, get a safety that's kind of aging and make them into. Look at what happened with Rod Woodson. Rod Woodson's career changed when they put him at safety. I mean, I wish we would have kept him.
How did it change? He went from the number one, the most complete cornerback in football to the best safety in football. It didn't change.
One of the best safeties, but
it didn't change
because he had that injury, and he even said himself his back pedal was never the same. he almost reinvented his style, or he said he was more able to be more physical as a safety versus he was as a corner, which saved his career.
Safeties.
So, it just like a Josh Norman or someone that's an aging cornerback, that would be something you would think of. Put them at safety and see what they can do if their ego lets them do it, because that's always a factor as well.
Ronnie Lott, Earl Thomas. Give me more.
Right.
What's the Ravens guy name? The Hall of Fame.
Ed Reed.
Ed Reed.
Ed Reed.
Look at these safeties and look at the Super Bowls that follow them. Hello, National Football League. Let's wake up. Earl Thomas is now in Baltimore. Look at the teams.
And Baltimore's eating.
Hello. The Super Bowls are following these safeties. And you're paying cornerbacks. Who are the starting cornerbacks for the Ravens right now?
Peters and Marlon Humphrey, which are two strong cornerbacks, but that's the zone scheme they play.
Peters was toast in Los Angeles.
Correct. So
Peters ain't great. It's the safety play.
Mm-hmm.
It's come on now. Like, am I hitting when the Chiefs were their best? Eric Berry was their safety. Their defense is finally starting to come around, but I think Matthew is really still not the Matthew he was a few years ago because of that injury. You give me Earl Thomas and see where this team went.
Let's use a better example. When was Patrick Peterson his best in Arizona? When he had Tyrann Mathieu back there.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
A healthy Tyrann Mathieu, yeah.
Right. Patrick Peterson, not to say he's not still a great corner.
He's all right.
But his best years
are behind him. They're here in Kansas City with Tyrann Mathieu.
But going with the Steelers, with Minka being a safety, it's allowing. Let's use the one you killed him all preseason. We picked up Steven Nelson, and you was
and he would have been an excellent safety.
And he's actually having a great. I won't say. Well, yeah,
he's having a great season.
He's having a great season at corner because he has that safety help. Our years where we have struggled offensive-wise or defensive-wise has been because the safeties have not been there.
And the league does not value that position nearly enough.
Correct. We hadn't had a good safety since Troy, and we had Sean Davis and a couple others, and it hasn't panned out. But once we now got two strong, good-looking safeties, it allows our corners to be a lot easier to play. And that's what it is. It's always about safety. This is the one thing I didn't get with Cleveland when they got rid of their safety, Jabril Peppers. I know it was all part of the Odell trade, don't get me wrong. But the fact of the matter is if you had a safety with that corner Ward, y'all would be stopping a lot more wide receivers from 100-yard games because of it. But because you got Ward and he's constantly having to run them, constantly having to go after their top wide receiver, eventually he's going to get burned out. It's just the odds. We'll see, though. But defensive-wise, I think we can have a strong game against the Browns, especially the fact of the matter is we did do a great job. Mind you, they scored 21 points against us. They scored 21 points against us on short fields. At no point did Baker go more than 40 yards to score the touchdown because Mason was constantly throwing interceptions.
Yeah,
the Browns are not going to go. I'm just being honest. If you have a short field, then you're a
factor now.
Yes, Kareem Hunt is a great factor, and they're using him as a wideout more than a running back.
And Kareem Hunt is balling.
Totally get that, but Nick Chubb is struggling now. So it's almost like he kind of came in at the right time because all of a sudden. And I said this
at the right
to
time.
A friend of mine.
If Kareem had been starting from day one, they'd probably be like 7-4.
He wasn't going to take Nick Chubb's spot.
Why not?
Because
he's
he
the
didn't
better
do anything
player.
To lose it. He didn't do anything to lose it. I'm just saying. He didn't do anything to lose it.
And Kareem Hunt was. Kareem Hunt.
What they need to do is if they was a smart team, you have Thunder and Lightning. Basically, you have Kareem Hunt running your outsides, doing the little sprints and everything. He would have still got 1,000. He might have be able to get 1,500
How many?
And
Did y'all
then
sign
you
him
have
to 2
Chubb for
years?
your.
Did they sign it?
I
Did they
think
sign
so.
him to 2 years?
I think it's 2 years. Yeah,
Shit,
but
he gonna get paid.
I think it's one. I think it's a 1-and-1. I think this is his option year though. Like
You
if
know,
Cleveland
I think the
don't
Chiefs will
want
break
him,
the bank to get Kareem Hunt back.
yeah, y'all not gonna get him back. I'm sorry. I think ego wise, y'all not gonna get him back.
Nah, he was very humble leaving Kansas City. He is open to returning to the Chiefs.
So we'll see about that one.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
we gonna have a game. It's gonna be a game, so we'll see about that. And it's gonna come down to it.
I look forward to this. Is a good weekend of football, or it should be a good weekend of football. I expect the Raiders to bounce back. My ego is saying that the Chiefs by 10, but I need to go back and change that so I can get paid to 5 or 6. I expect a real close game. I don't know that you can hold either Odell or Jarvis under 100 yards like you were talking about. I don't.
Well,
know.
they did last game.
Yeah,
both of them was under 100.
Okay.
I don't know how long it will last, but if it does happen, this is because Odell's about. It's almost that time.
Yeah, but
Odell
Jarvis has been balling.
I agree.
He
what really comes down to
won my fantasy.
But what really comes down to is Benny Snell on offense. If we can run the ball really, really effectively, we ain't got that. We can keep them off the field. That's the whole thing. We got to run the ball really, really effectively. And Benny Snell, when he played against not KC, excuse me, when we played against LA, the LA, San Diego, whatever you want to call them, they ran the ball real, real strong. And I think if we can keep that mentality up, then we can win this game.
Well, y'all have no choice. Y'all have to run. Your passing game is.
Well, we'll see with Devin Hodges. Devin Hodges did have some spurts last week when they put him in.
Your passing game is to offset the running game right now.
Oh, of course.
So,
but we got to do something.
That's all it is to try to keep defenses honest. Is what your passing attack is.
And we should have a little bit more of an advantage now that there is no Miles Garrett to try to rush, because that's their only sack master, to keep it real.
Yeah. Like I said, it's rivalry weekend. The Chiefs, Raiders, Steelers, Browns, especially after that melee that took place a couple weeks ago.
Although I don't see a rivalry really with New England and the Texans.
Nah, I think it should be, but we'll find out. I don't have a lot of hope there. I really don't know how to pick there. I know it should happen, but I'm tired of being wrong picking against this Patriots team. Anyway, I got the Steelers by 3.
I got us by 7. I think it's going to be you'll be surprised when I say this. I think it's going to be 27-20.
Oh, that's a lot of points. I'm expecting your defense to have like a pick 6 or a fumble recovery touchdown to give you.
I'm definitely saying that. There's like definitely going to be a pick. I'm hoping the pick 6 involved.
That's what I'm saying. It's like 16-13, and the defensive score is what is the difference in the game. It's going to be a good game. I hope the Steelers understand that they are a good football team and they have a great football coach. And as long as he's not playing against Bill Belichick, they've got a shot.
Yeah, pretty much. So we're going to see.
Any more Steelers news, or are we good? We
good on the Steelers one. I know we way over on the show, so
yeah,
no rant this week.
No rant.
We'll keep it.
No rant. I think I did enough, and I don't have any reason to talk about Phillip Rivers anymore. My personal campaign.
I want you to meet him.
Why?
Like, I wish the Super Bowl was in Houston again so you can meet him.
Why?
Just tell him how
it's
you
not
really
like
feel.
He should be there.
Like, tell him how you really feel.
Like, I'm serious.
Also, like, you're like the most overrated quarterback in history.
Ever. I've watched you, and you suck. And if it'd been any black quarterback in your shoes, you'd have been cut years ago.
Too stupid.
I'm just saying.
Anyway.
But even if the Super Bowl was here, it's not like he's going to be there. I mean, unless he's just a guest.
No, he was here last time.
Oh,
he came
as a guest.
He'll sign an autograph.
He wanted to see it up close, how it looks to be a winner.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm Kcreginaldjr.
It's your man J-Dub, Justin Waters.
Thanks for listening to the show. We'll catch you next week.
Have a good weekend. Have a fun football rivalry week, baby. Peace.